Hi guys, today is the 12th of January 2020 and it's 29 minutes past 3 in the afternoon over here in the UK. I wanted to make a quick video talking about tomorrow, the 13th, which is also the 31st of December on the Julian calendar, so it's the same forwards and backwards. Just going to point out a few places in this video where the numbers 1 and 3 occur. So right in this very first scene, the dog's leg here, 1, the head, 3. There's other numbers encoded there, but I'm just pointing out the number 13 as I'm doing a watch for tomorrow. Skip forward a little bit. Obviously you got the 3 hearts, one is bigger than the other, that's potentially a 1-3 reference. Behind you've got the missile / penis with the 1-3 reference as well. In a moment, behind the George Bush character's head, you'll see the house or burning boat with the 1-3 reference on it as well, as you can see just there in the background. Skip forward a little bit. The children, 13 of them, 1-3 reference. Skip back a bit. When the apple opens, we've got one side with no seed, and then we've got 3 seeds in total, potentially another 1-3, 13 or 31 reference. Obviously this one, very familiar, the 3 and the 1 in the clouds up here. Obviously that could be 13 in reverse. As I say, tomorrow the 13th is the 31st of December on the Julian calendar, so keep in watch. Go back a bit. Obviously this character has the number 3 in his eye, in one of his eyes. That could be a 1-3 reference. The 3 planes that come and shoot the 1 missile, that's another 1-3 reference. And a lot of this has connections with the Middle East. Talked about, I think it was yesterday, I posted a video talking about the mosque in Pakistan that had a bomb, and obviously the crescent, the white crescent particularly, could be associated with Pakistan. The mosque scene, the ravens feel that's associated with London. So obviously there's a watch on London as well, as I talk about quite often. And I think that's where I wanted to end the 1-3 references actually. So yeah, a lot of 1-3 references throughout the video, and that is why we've got a watch in it. A couple of these events, potentially all of the indications where the 13th or the 31st, or even on the lunar calendar where the number 19 might appear. The number 19 doesn't really appear, but just for the breakdown of interpretations, you've got the chart here on the side. So there on the 13th, I know them so I don't have to read them, but you've got the burning house, White House, Capitol Hill, Houses of Parliament over here in the UK, Buckingham Palace with the Queen. Also looks like a boat, so the aircraft carriers, USS Abraham Lincoln, Carl Vinson, Nimitz and John McCain are on watch. It's also shaped like a nuclear rocket, so nuclear test, possible nuclear launch, on watch as well. Another building, the St. Paul's Church in New York, that survived the 9/11 attacks, potential for something happening there. Encoded is the states of New York and Maine are also in there as well, so watch out around those areas. Red Lobster, yes, also is another thing, maybe one of their restaurants or something connected with Maine in that sense. That's just one image. This one here, the aircraft carriers, the missiles coming out with Iran potentially, could also be associated with Pakistan coming out as well, since Osama bin Laden was killed in Pakistan. Potential for Al Qaeda and ISIS joining up, you know, with the whole black dress being kind of associated with ISIS, and obviously Osama bin Laden being the leader of Al Qaeda. Potential for those two teaming up. Down here, again, pretty much the same interpretation, but you've got the Shia crescent, which is that crescent across the Middle East that is Shia, and will most likely support Iran in the form of an attack. The cloud around him also looks like a tsunami wave, so volcano tsunami connection again is coming up there. The fish jumping out the water, these are called tsunami fish. They were found around the Pacific, so that would suggest something maybe on that side of the world. But also there's the stamping feet over here, which is connected to the blue character when he's wearing the Kali mask for destruction, stamping on the ground with the number 9 on the ground, suggesting an earthquake. So maybe in both locations, Indian Ocean and Pacific. We've got the underwater volcano, the new one that just formed. Apparently this new volcano that just formed is connected to that mysterious hum that people were hearing around the world. Apparently this generation of the volcano was causing it. Obviously I can't really tell you whether that's true or not, but I can tell you what's being said about it. So there's the potential for that to erupt underwater, generating a tsunami. That would be in the Indian Ocean. That would affect countries like Australia, Iran, Pakistan, India, Somalia, Saudi Arabia. So just that whole basin there. And then obviously if it's in the Pacific, you've got Hawaii, which is another interpretation for the apple. You've got all the other countries that surround it as well, little islands like Guam, obviously the Philippines. Just very quickly, in association with the Philippines, today on the 12th, was looking out for volcanic eruption. You know, the volcanoes I've talked about, Stromboli, Mount Etna, Kilauea, Mauna Loa, this new Comoros one. But none of those erupted. One in the Philippines erupted. And obviously volcanoes don't erupt every day, and even when they do erupt, they don't always make the news. This one has made the news, and I thought maybe it has some sort of connection. Maybe the other volcanoes are too watched, and erupting them on dates that we're looking for would be a little bit too convenient. So maybe same date but another volcano, just putting that potential out there. Not really sure of that. Again, we come down to the apple, which is split. Already talked about the potential for the underwater volcano. This also has connections with New York. Again, if there's some sort of nuclear activity, maybe that's connected with New York as well. We do have the NY reference in the house, and the New York reference with the Big Apple. Again, the Kilauea volcano with Hawaii, and also Mount Etna with Italy. Looking out for all of those in association with this apple breaking. It comes up on a lot of dates, the apple and the split apple, so it's kind of difficult to pin down, but just going kind of day by day here using this chart as a guide. As I said, with the missile, it's also shaped like a penis, so looking out for that cult rumor. The penis is made up of the word cult, C-U upside down L upside down T. So maybe something comes out tomorrow about that. Maybe that's linked with the burning house, maybe metaphorically the information sets the house on fire. We don't know, but I'll be, keeping an eye out. Obviously we've got the potential for Icbm launch, Slbm launch if it's connected with the shark. The missile is above the shark in the video, so that may be purposefully done. We've got the end of year deadline, and now we're not sure which calendar North Korea is using, or whether they've just abandoned this end of the year deadline threat altogether. But they had issued at the beginning of 2019 a deadline for the end of the year for these negotiations and nuclear talks with the United States. Now obviously the 31st of December on the Gregorian calendar has passed, and nothing in association with North Korea and missile threats or nuclear threats occurred, particularly looking out for Slbm, Icbm or nuclear launches or tests. However, we, as I said, now have another potential end of the year deadline, which is tomorrow, the 31st of December on the Julian calendar, which runs 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So I'll be watching out for anything around North Korea and the potential for them nuke testing, Icbm testing, Slbm testing, something along those lines. Excuse me. I was going to say something else, but it just completely left my mind. Oh yeah, that's it. If there is nothing from North Korea tomorrow in association with the end of the year deadline on the Julian calendar, there is obviously one more end of the year deadline that North Korea could choose, which would be in association with the lunar calendar. Now, obviously, the lunar calendar is used by the Chinese, and I assume that the North Koreans, South Koreans, in that region of the world would use it too. In which case, the New Year end of the year deadline would be the end of the year of the pig, which would be January 24th, going on to January 25th. The numbers that I see encoded into the missile or the burning house don't connect me with the 24th. There could potentially be the 25th, if you really kind of manipulate the 3 into a 5, but I don't think so. Either way, I'll still be keeping watch because the end of the year of the pig is obviously significant. I think that will be when we see China come forward. They've given these protests in Hong Kong a whole year, and I think they will wait until the end of the year before they move in, starting afresh, cleaning out these protesters from Hong Kong. Obviously, there's the potential for North Korea and South Korea to come against each other at that time as well. This could be the DMZ we're looking at. So a lot to watch, and there are a lot of interpretations, and I appreciate they can be overwhelming and confusing, but that's why I made this chart. It helps me as well as helping you guys understand what I'm saying and how I'm looking at things in terms of numbers, the events that potentially connect with those numbers, and the days that they could possibly take place. Sometimes I even try and break down times, but doing days, months, years and times is extremely difficult. But putting that all aside, the 13th tomorrow, watching out for events around the Middle East, Iran, Pakistan, news about Al-Qaeda, ISIS potentially, uniting something that unites them. I don't know. The Shia Crescent, which is the Shias across the Middle East, being united by something. Again, not exactly sure what that is. Could be related to the collateral damage at the mosque in Pakistan on the 10th. Maybe there's some more news to come out about that. Looking out for the urination cult or some sort of information surrounding the cult. Icbm, SLBM, nuclear launch or test, US aircraft carriers, burning house, burning buildings like White House or something like that. Not going to go through all those again. Linking with a submarine launch again, potentially SLBM, a volcanic eruption, maybe an earthquake as well, Pacific, Indian Ocean. Yeah, that's all. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.